7:05 already.
No.
How can a computer be wrong?
No idea why. I was just looking at that. I was like, what time is it? I'm like, mine says 6:59.
Must be on some kind of delay here with this machine. Not that it's important. Did we ever find a gavel?
We lost it.
I didn't have it for the last meeting.
I'll look for it.
Yeah, missing gavel. All right.
Election people might have moved it forward or something.
All right, now we can start. Hey, Bobby. You are.
Do you need one, Cindy?
No,
Another computer?
no, she's looking for the gavel.
Oh,
All right, with that, I'd like to bring to order the May 28th meeting of the East Hempfield Township Recreation Authority. As I think everyone knows, we're recording this for minute purposes, and Robert's rules will apply. And with that, let's stand for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. We'll get started. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There it is. Okay. All right, guys. Good to see everyone. Let's start the evening with the standing committee reports. Do we have any report from the lease negotiating and real estate committee? Mr. Trump, Mr. Rhodes, Mr. Krimmel. Anything this evening? Anything new?
I don't think we have anything on the agenda or list right now, so nothing new that
Nothing,
I
nothing. new
I am
to report?
presenting.
Mr. Banner, if you could speak into the microphone, that would be helpful.
Okay. Yes, I can do that. All right, so no report on the lease negotiating and real estate committee this evening. Let's turn to the Finance and Operations Committee. Dave Lounsbury, Ryan, and John. Anything to report?
You can, go ahead.
yeah, we had a meeting with Concord Public Finance last week and discussed options for financing for the new pro shop. It was basically split between a bond offering or going directly to a bank. They had, I think, a couple of questions about our financials, about whether or not it would make sense for us to actually go forward with the project with where we are right now as far as our revenues and expenses. We were going to give them updated 2025 projections. And then we have at least one other meeting scheduled with another financial firm, and I think one to follow, Cindy.
Correct.
Which the one scheduled is for Friday in the morning. So we'll see. I think at least taking a poll of what all three opinions are for what we're trying to do and what they think we can accomplish, we'd have a more comprehensive idea of whether or not the pro shop renovation is viable or new build is viable. I think our other homework for the committee was to look into potentially redoing the existing pro shop without a complete rebuild, which we're thinking about getting quotes about that as well, but
I had reached out to Cornerstone. They're working on a quote for us.
okay.
Makes sense to use them since they're familiar with what we want to do.
I think one of the issues that we had with our original quote was that it included a little bit more than I think the scope of the work. I think we had the maintenance building in there, so the at least one of the financial projections that they had was for close to 3 million. So the, yearly expense of the debt service was a little bit higher than I think that we as a committee felt comfortable stomaching. So if we could strip that out and just focus justly on the pro shop, or maybe even less of a expense from the pro shop, then it might be something more doable, but that's something that we have to continue to work through as we get kind of all the financial information, so.
Yeah, I don't think the maintenance building was included. What wasn't included was contingency line item and the parking lot work.
Parking lot, that's what I was thinking.
So we're figuring if we're at 2.4, we'll probably end up at 3 million. And the quotes you have in your Concord packet don't include any contribution by the rec authority.
The sprinkler system was the other one that was included in there. That was the extra million that we put in there, was for the sprinkler system, at least in one of the projections that they had on their packet.
Don't think so.
I thought it was 3+ million on one of them.
I think we were projecting 3 million without the sprinkler system because we were at 2.4 just with the building. And if we add contingency and parking lot, we likely would be at 3 million.
Okay.
And those costs didn't include any project contingencies that have to be added in as well. So,
So the quote for just the pro shop is 2.4 million?
Yes. Their initial thought was $1.5 million, which is why they didn't even look at the existing building. But now coming in at 2.1, 2.4, depending upon roof trusses.
And how much of that do you think is attributable to moving things like the power, the water, those kind of things?
Forest Construction in their quote had 233,000 for site work. So that would be moving the utilities, I would think.
Utilities will be in there, 230. Okay, well, I do think, again, based on these numbers and, where they're going or where they've gone, I think it certainly makes sense to look at repairing what we have, maybe retrofitting, doing some things there. If we can save a significant amount of money. Would have been my hope to get this done for maybe 1.5, but I guess it doesn't look like that's realistic at this point. But I appreciate all the work everybody's doing on this.
How did we get to the horse group to be doing, is that just one of the places we went to, or did we look at anybody else?
Well, we didn't bid it yet. This is just an estimate.
Okay.
And that was included in the price for Cornerstone.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think that was like $6,000 add-on that we added to it.
to answer your question about, relocating the utilities and so forth, if you look at the estimates, of the 2.4 million, which is the higher one with the fancier roof, the electrical work and the site work total $440,000. Now, some of that, the electrical is 204, and I'm assuming that includes some of the, bringing the new utilities in, and the site work would include, bringing water and sewer and gas in, but there's a chunk of money tied up in that.
Well, just keep plugging away at this and let's see where we go, but heading into the threes is not what I envisioned.
Well, I don't think any of us did.
I'm looking at the summary comparison. It's 2.4 to 3.4, and the 3.4 is with the new irrigation lumped into it. So I think it's closer to 2.4, but then again, we don't know where the expenses go if there's unforeseen issues or anything like that. However, the only thing that we talked about in our meeting was if we delay the project And let's say in 5 or 10 years, we need to actually do it because the building is just not viable anymore, even if you retrofit it, that the numbers are going to continue to grow just because of the cost of building material and labor and things like that. So that's one of the things that we've discussed, but we'll continue our meetings and see where we go. I think at least with the first group that we talked to, they said even if we wanted to start, we were 9 to 12 months away from anything actually happening anyway, so.
Yeah, I was very impressed with their presentation. They had some good thoughts. They pointed out the advantages and disadvantages between a bond issue or going with a bank. They suggested for this size of project, probably be best for us to go the bank route. They pointed out some advantages to that. Lower fees, a slightly higher interest rate with the bank. But in the end, the cost would probably be about the same. There would be no prepayment penalty if we were to pay it off earlier. So I think they were very well prepared and gave a very good presentation.
Okay, well, maybe you could. Maybe we could just see if we can drive the cost down a little bit. I don't know. I mean, you guys are, you're working with the architects and so on. But again, I'd hope that we do this for, 2.4, you say, Ryan, without the sprinkler.
That was the estimate, yeah.
Well, even at that, if we could.
When you look at renovating the existing, are you going upstairs too into that barn? Or are we just trying to keep the first floor?
I would think we just keep the first floor.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think there's any doubt we could renovate what we have for a lot less.
I don't know. I think we kind of thought the cost was going to be somewhat similar, but I guess it depends on the scope of the renovation versus,
Yeah, their initial thought was based on what they saw, it made more sense to build new with a budget of 1 to 1.5. But now with a budget of 2.1 to 2.4, retrofitting might make more sense.
Oh. What Ed used to say, cost what, 2 or 3 times to renovate than it does to build new. Till it's all said and done.
well, and I think initially when we were looking at new versus retrofit was we wanted to decrease the scope of the size of the building significantly. And they would just be easier to maintain versus the amount of space that they have there now. Cause I think they went from 3 times to 1 time what they have with, the old to new. But again, at 2.4, that's hard to stomach, so.
All right, well, again, I appreciate all the work everybody's doing on this. Just keep at it and we'll see what happens. But again, moving the maintenance building will be part of the other thing that we do, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's gonna be over there. Okay. All right. Any comment on the budget reports for this evening? The general capital for trial balance. The 38,896 this month on the property improvements. I assume that's fees to the, that's where the last is. Okay.
That last time.
Yeah,
when
I
it
did-
knows that it's being
Yeah,
paid.
I didn't, I asked Cindy about that earlier. I didn't see it. I didn't see the check in this month's, or is it
Check went in last month's.
last month?
and now
Okay,
This is showing what was paid and what came in, so the check would have went out last month.
got it. Good, good. And then we still have a cash balance in our of 540,000 capital reserve.
Yeah, one thing with that is that the CDs are going to be changing. That CD has expired, has matured. And I'm in the process of getting new CDs. I'm still gonna split it between a 3-month and a 6-month, just to keep funds if needed on a shorter time period, but that is gonna be done within the next day or so.
Are you gonna put most of the 486 or 466 in either a 3-month or 6-month?
Yes.
Is that the plan?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds like a good plan.
We're moving the funding to Pliget.
What's that?
We're moving it to Pliget,
Okay.
best rate we could find.
What are the rates? I'm just curious.
4.34.
Okay.
4.34 or 4.36. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm right about that.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on the budget reports for September? Or actually for April? We'll have to change that next month. Okay. Course Operations Committee, Lundy, Enoch, and Rhodes. Anything to report?
We do not.
No, well, I can tell you, I'm hearing a lot of good comments about the condition of the course in general. And give him and his staff, you know, a lot of credit for that, obviously. I'm sure the rain's helping.
Mm.
All right, next up, we have the action items, cash requirements report this evening. Any questions on the cash requirements report? Yeah. Hearing none, then I'll hear a motion to approve the cash requirements report for April.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion from Mr. Lounsbury. Do I have a second? And a second from Mr. Enoch. Motion from Mr. Lounsbury, a second from Mr. Enoch. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I didn't say it.
Motion passes 7-0. Okay,
Brian, did you say you abstained?
No, I said aye, sorry.
Okay.
I pulled him in.
Yeah, sorry. Distracted by a line item in there.
That's okay. You want to comment?
No.
Huh? Okay. All right, golf operations update is provided. Any comment on that?
I can tell you that Jim Michael Cabbage will be back probably June 5th from his medical leave.
Sounds good. And everything must have run pretty smooth while he was gone. All right, any new business to discuss this evening? We're going to have a short meeting. Okay, hearing none then, I'll hear a motion to approve the April 23rd minutes.
Motion to approve the 23rd April minutes, 2025.
Of a motion from Mr. Rose, do I hear a second? Second from the chair. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
I have to abstain.
Let's see,
Same. I wasn't at the meeting.
we had 5 people here for the last meeting. Okay, so then we'll approve the meetings 5-0. No public comment, right? So with that, I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
I'd love to make that motion.
Count on you for that, Dave. I appreciate that. Motion from Mr. Lounsbury and a second from Mr. Enoch to adjourn. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
Coming by for a quick meeting.
Pass this one.
Tight, very tight.
Wow, since we have one of them.
It'd be interesting to see what. It'd be interesting to see what